Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rebel News panel discussion on this, a Friday, August 1st, 2025. Good golly, what happened to July? I'm David Menzies. My co-host is Drea Humphrey in Vancouver. And for the first half hour of the show, I'm pleased to introduce our two guests today. We have Chris Dacey of Dacey Media and independent journalist Eli Canton-Nantel, and they will be discussing some of the top news stories with us, like I said, for the first half hour, because they're very busy. It's not like they're buggering off for the long weekend, folks. They got other assignments to cover. But before we get to that, Drea, what is it that we are hopefully trying to pull off here?
It's going to be another great Rebel Roundup. I love these panels. They're so fun.
They are.
And anybody who's new to this, it's where we talk about the news. It's very unscripted. You can be a part of it as well by two different ways. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can donate to contribute to the show and leave us a super chat. Or if you're watching after the live, it would be a super thanks. And you just comment whatever you want. Sometimes you guys break the news as we're sitting here. And we read that out if it's a donation of $5 or more. Or if you're at our free speech friends at Rumble, you can leave a Rumble rant and do the same thing. And it becomes a part of the show. We've got the panels and it's just great.
Fantastic. And everyone, I think we should talk about, the two red button issues of the day. It is Mark Carney's announcement 24 hours ago that Canada would indeed recognize Palestinian statehood. And in an uncanny way, that was literally on the eve of the deadline for the tariff deal, a deal that, Trump didn't even wait till the midnight hour to sign it. Here's where I stand. Regardless where you stand on Palestinian statehood, and I will tell you I'm completely opposed to that. I personally feel the Palestinians aren't mature enough for statehood, and don't take my word for it. Talk to Egypt, Jordan, the Arab Gulf nations. They want nothing to do with these people. This is, I think, a reward for carrying out terrorism going back to October 7th, 2023. But regardless, why could this announcement not wait a week, 5 days, 3 days? Why was it on the eve of this very important tariff deadline? And guys, I'll give you my take. I want to hear what you have to say. I truly believe, because the timing is so cosmically bad, I really think it wasn't bad timing in terms of the way Carney thinks. Mark Carney is officially the Prime Minister of Canada, but let's face it, he's the head honcho of, unofficially, of Brookfield Asset Management. His assets are U.S. based. He succeeds, Brookfield succeeds when the U.S. succeeds. So all this crap going back 3 months ago, elbows up, I'm Captain Canuck. I'm wrapping myself in the Canadian flag. I am calling BS. This is the con of the century. I think Carney wanted to purposely skew any potential deal. I'll go to you first, Chris Dacey. What say you?
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that logic. I think he used this to win an election. And if his actions since are any indication, nothing he has done has helped further the cause. If we're in a major crisis, he's certainly not dealing with it well at all.
No, 100%. And Eli, like I said, if you're with the Liberal cabinet and this is part of your agenda, I think this is in terms of priorities, this is not as important as a trade deal with our largest partner. Why wouldn't anyone have said, you know what? You say this. We know it's going to piss off Donald Trump. This is not what you want to do with literally hours away from a trade deadline. What's your take on this unbelievable timing?
Well, first of all, I think the reason for the timing is likely because France and the UK did it, and Mark Carney wanted to be seen as he's in with the times, right? Liberals
Yeah.
love the current thing. Liberals love to be trendy. So right now, what is trendy? Well, it's trendy to recognize the Palestinian state amidst all of these reports about Gaza, some of whom have been debunked. So I think that was a factor. I do want to build off a bit of what you and Chris said. Mark Carney, the whole premise for re-electing the Liberals after 10 years, where almost every single metric was in the negative, was that Mark Carney was going to stand up for Trump and get Canada out of a bad situation. He literally bragged that he was a globalist, and that was good in this sort of scenario. He bragged about his banking experience, about how he's the banker, even though everybody knew this guy actually has three passports and, had been working not in Canada for a bit of time, and had moved this company to the US. But still, the media pushed this narrative. This guy's our savior. This guy's going to get us out of a bad situation. And so far, that has not been the case. And I'm really starting to think those people. There was a clip during the election of these baby boomers at a Mark Carney rally chanting "elbows up, no more Trump." I think someone should check on them today to see how they're doing.
Yeah, forget about elbows up. It's more like knees down. And, you raise a great point, Eli. I wonder how much buyer's remorse there is out there, because I think it's becoming increasingly clear. Carney lives up to his surname, like a Carney on the Midway. He conned the rubes into thinking he was going to be the savior of Canada. But, I got to ask you, Drea, another point Eli alluded to. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember just 3 months ago, while we were in the midst of a federal election, Palestinian statehood being an election issue, being a talker. It wasn't. So why is it now? And why, within 24 hours of a trade deal, is it announced? What is your opinion?
Well, it's like that saying, never let a good crisis go to waste. So they have to sort of fabricate something to deflect and distract from what a train wreck Carney has been so far. Again, piggybacking on what everybody said, the whole reason people were duped into a fourth term liberal was because of this, this rhetoric and this belief that he was going to come and save us. And he's done everything not. He might as well be, going from a playbook on how not to be a prime minister when you're in an economic crisis. So this is selecting what team you're on, getting your allies per se, and deflecting from, again, what a train wreck he's been so far.
But Drea, I feel that this is beyond incompetence. As I was alluding to earlier, I think this was deliberate sabotage to make sure any deal was skewered. And I'll get back to our guests here. The other thing, of course, is this just in terms of domestic policy? Forget about foreign policy. Pandering by the Carney Liberals. We know there are 5 times as many Muslims as Jews in Canada. I'm not saying every Muslim subscribes to the death cult of the Hamas holes, as I like to call them, but could that be sort of an agenda? They've just crunched the numbers and hey baby, it's nothing personal, it's just business in terms of getting reelected. What say you, Chris?
Yeah, I think almost all the time, most politicians, definitely Carney, are talking out of both sides of their mouth. You can see how they approach things here with, with how they handle the Palestinian mobs, for lack of a better term. They're constantly trying to say that they're going to protect, stop anti-Semitism. Meanwhile, it's running rampant in our streets, and they're doing nothing about that. And then they come out with a statement like this. And it wasn't all that long ago in the House of Commons. There was a vote about this. I believe it was like 200. Voted against recognizing Palestine as a state at the time.
Yeah, and Eli, where do you think, I don't know if he's made a comment yet, but Liberal MP Anthony Housefather, is he going to do some pouting for the camera? Or I guess, is he just not going to bother? Is he just showing up to collect a paycheck as being, one of the Jewish liberals in caucus?
I want to build off a bit on the diaspora politics thing. This was something I wrote a pretty long analysis about for the Hub, about how we have imported foreign conflicts. We have abandoned this idea of assimilation, and we have imported foreign conflicts and foreign grievances in Canada. The politicians have done that. Don't blame the immigrants, blame the politicians. They brought in the conflicts, and they've been using these conflicts for political gain, and you have these politicians that are pitting communities against each other for political gain. And the whole Trudeau liberal Palestine thing is an example of this. An example. I mean, the Liberals used to be rather pro-Israel, and then Justin Trudeau began being heckled at mosques. They began being pressured by the Muslim members of the Laurier Club of the Liberal Party of Canada. So these are people who donate a lot of money to the Liberals, who basically were saying, we'll stop donating if you don't speak up more on Palestine. And in the days that followed, Canada started breaking away from its long support of Israel and started talking about Palestine all of a sudden. Melanie Joly said it best, David, to Tom Mulcair, the foreign affairs minister, said, look at the demographics in my writing. That says it all.
Wow.
For Anthony Housefather and for liberal Jews, I mean, the thing is, I'm not Jewish, so I can't give you an opinion as a Jewish person, but I've spoken to a lot of Jewish people because I do cover anti-Semitism pretty extensively as part of my journalism. And there's a deep sense of frustration amongst Jews with how the liberal government has handled the file. And there's also some people who don't understand why members of their community would go and support this government. So, I mean, Anthony Housefather, at this point, I mean, like, what you're going to do, I think he already put out a statement, but statements don't really do anything. It's an absolute disgrace what this government has done, and how this government has just allowed the rampant anti-Semitism that has garnered international attention and embarrassment to happen, because it's just not politically popular to take strong action and to say enough is enough.
You know, and Eli, you raise a very good point about the hatred towards Justin Trudeau when he was still prime minister. I can tell you, we went to many of these demonstrations when Trudeau was having, say, a fundraiser, and the Hamassols would show up, and they would be brandishing signs saying "Genocide Justin." And so clearly they weren't on Team Trudeau by that point. So I guess this is more evidence at the end of the day that the Carney con worked. We changed the head of the fish. It's not Justin Trudeau, it's Mark Carney. Well, guess what? That fish still stinks. And we got another indication of that just 2 days ago. Switching gears, Drea, what about Sean Feucht? I thought the cancel culture nonsense, the egregious and outrageous crap this wonderful man went through last week in our Dominion, I thought maybe that has settled down, but evidently he is having a show canceled in your neck of the woods, in the Bible Belt, no less. What's going on there?
It is crazy. You know, I had to eat my words a little bit. I've learned over the years when it comes to Christian and religious freedoms in that area, you know, not to assume it's going to go perfect. But I thought, you know, he should be okay in Abbotsford. It should work out. And people should know that in the Lower Mainland and in the Fraser Valley, Sean Feucht has been here the last 2 years in a row, peacefully doing events where thousands of people have come out to each event. So you would think the Bible Belt would have accepted him, but no, in quite the shock, they said no. The city council used the excuse, of course, of community safety reasons. And what really adds salt to the wound is that they say that the fear of it is that it might attract counter protesters. Well, as I've already proved in a report that I think maybe will be up today, if not tomorrow, there was a whole campaign of this cancel mob, of course, going after specifically the Kelowna and Abbotsford events. So now you're just showing across Canada all it takes to get rid of a Christian, white, conservative male whose views you disagree with. They've created actual Christophobia, literally the fear of Christians peacefully worshiping during a concert in public spaces.
And Drea, this business of Sean Feucht, where he wanted to come, was a public park, I understand. So he'll probably have to, as he did in Toronto on Sunday, go to a church. But the city is going to deny a permit. I have a hypothetical question for you. If several hundred Islamists showed up at that park and started praying and they didn't have a permit, anything going to happen?
No, and we're already seeing that happening with a piece that Juno put out, an exclusive about a pro-Sharia law imam who's taking a tour around Canada, and some people find that offensive and nobody's saying anything. I keep talking about Lil Wayne. He's scheduled to perform here in January. Yeah, there's that article there. So Legacy Media silent as pro-Sharia imam kicks off Canadian tour. No one has anything to say about that or any issues with that. And Lil Wayne, of course, has endorsed Trump even before he was pardoned. And he's free to come and perform. No one's saying anything about that, even though, you know, you can compare rapping about guns and violence and women's you-know-what to Christian worship, and maybe saying you don't like drag queen story times or gender ideology.
Unbelievable. Chris, to Drea's point of, well, you know, it's not that we're against Mr. Feucht, but there might be counter-protesters there, so it's a safety issue. Well, I, being an advocate of freedom, I'm not against counter demonstrations, but that's on the proviso you don't cross the line, i.e. vandalism, throwing smoke bombs, violence. You've covered demonstrations where you've encountered that. Isn't that where law enforcement is supposed to come in? You know, basically tell the hooligans that, you know, if you want to chant slogans and brandish signs, that's one thing. But if you're going to get physical, that's another, and you will be arrested. Why aren't we seeing that as a response to the those who would pose a threat to public safety?
Yeah, this double standard is something that's been getting to me for a very long time, and I've been trying to cover. You know, they talk about potential hazards or threats to public safety. I went to the event outside of Ottawa after the one in Ottawa had its permit pulled, and it was beautiful. A few hundred people showed up, praying in a field, worship music. It was too far for counter protesters. But you know, they talk about these perceived threats that they don't list, and then they completely ignore the actual threats and violence that are occurring weekly in our streets. I'm not the only one that's been a victim of these mobs, but I have been physically attacked in front of police and had police threaten to arrest me for my trouble. So there's a ridiculous double standard. Anyone that watches sees it. I don't know how to explain it other than it's political. It has to be. There's no other explanation in my view.
I think you're right, Chris. And the idea of you being arrested, me being arrested, other independent journalists arrested because the police say, well, you're instigating the mob. You know what? That's their problem. This is reminiscent of the bad old days of sexual assault where a woman was raped and she'd be on the stand and they would say, well, how much cleavage were you showing, honey? How much leg were you showing? You see, you brought this upon yourself. It's absolutely disgraceful. Eli, on the point of double standards and two-tier politicking and policing, not a weekend, it seems, goes by in Toronto where the Islamists don't come out and purposely block a busy intersection of traffic. And the police and the city have previously released statements to the media that they have a constitutional right to pray, which is true. They do not have a constitutional right to block traffic. No such thing exists. And by the way, usually where they're having these prayer sessions, they're within walking distance of a local mosque. I reached back out to the city of Toronto, I should tell you, Eli, and I said, you know, they don't have a constitutional right to block traffic. And the response, we stand by our original statement. Absolutely pathetic in light of what Mr. Feucht had to go through last week.
Well, yeah, look, you can talk about double standards. You guys have highlighted quite a few, you know, a Sharia law imam, for example, or these rather hateful rallies take place every single week. Another example I can think of another controversial event that may generate counter protesters, Drag Queen Story Hour. You know what they did? They banned the protests. That was their solution there.
Great point.
I'm not saying, right? I'm not saying I agree with banning protests, but like that was their solution then versus here. It's like, no, let's just end this together. But there's something underlying this issue with Sean Feucht. Sure, there is anti-Americanism, which Canada, it's very rampant, and sometimes it even becomes bigotry. And I've spoken to some American citizens who say being in Canada today almost feels like being unvaccinated during COVID. Like there's just this hatred for Americans. There's this hatred for Trump. But you also have to look a little deeper. This is part of Canada's underlying societal problem of anti-Christian hatred. It's a problem. This was one of the first columns I ever wrote as a columnist back in 2020, Christophobia, the issue the media doesn't talk about. We have had 118 churches torched in Canada. We have had now this cancellation of this Christian preacher. We've had Christians jailed. We've had the parliament refuse to call for Christian Heritage Month. Time and time again, we see acts of hate against Christians, and we see an inability for the political class to condemn it like they do for the others. And in some cases, like they do here with Sean Feucht, they actually abet it. And my theory for this, it's all based in critical theory. They view the Christians as oppressors, even though Christians do so much for communities. My church in Ottawa has its own food bank. And there's just so much food that's giving out to hungry people every week. We do all of this outreach. These churches are a lifeline, but according to the leftists, no. These people are oppressors. These people are conservative. They're bad. So it's sad. But I would honestly, with the Sean Feucht thing, I'm just embarrassed and I'm sad because here you have a Christian singer, like him or not, and he is being targeted for his religion. Don't make it just about Americanism or about MAGA. This is an attack on Christians.
Eli, you're so right. Great points. And by the way, Drea, to build on what Eli was saying, and again, the double standard, the argument against Sean Feucht was, well, he's MAGA. Yeah, last I looked, there was a big MAGA guy at the White House that we're trying to secure a lifeline financial deal with. He's anti-woman. That's code speak for he's pro-life. Yeah. He's anti-LGBT. That means he doesn't believe that a so-called trans woman is a real woman. So that makes him a hater and a bigot and despicable. And meanwhile, the Hamasholes for more than a year and a half are in the streets chanting genocide, displaying swastikas, cosplaying as Sinwar. I think it's only a matter of time before they have somebody from Central Casting dressed as Hitler to further fuel the hatred. This is an appalling double standard, I think, Drea. What has to be done so that Christians can reclaim the public space and say, hell no, we're not taking this anymore?
I also want to point out, just before I answer that question, the double standard that we're seeing with these public excuses. Like I said, now they're saying it's a community public safety threat. During COVID, we heard it was a public health threat, but we know that they targeted the Christians. It wasn't only the Christians who were peacefully worshiping, holding their heads down and going in, but the media and the fines, and of course the only people being locked up were the Christians. And we're seeing that same rhetoric used here to shut down these peaceful worship events. And when you point out the contrast to these radical extreme protests, I mean, look how long it took for Samadone to be deemed a terrorist organization after they're burning our Canadian flags and calling for the death to Canada, Israel, and the United States. It takes that long, and there was barely any pushback. I will say one of the things that needs to happen is immense, of course, political pushback. We are seeing that, I'm proud to say. It seems like it's starting, it keeps flowing. Every time I go online, a new person who we've elected is actually speaking out in favor of religious freedom. And in Abbotsford, Fraser Valley area, just to list off a few, you have the Langley Abbotsford MLA with the BC Conservatives, Harman Bangu, who is calling on the City Council to go ahead and reverse its decision. You had from the same party, Heather Maas, who's out in Chilliwack, who had said, this is ridiculous before it even got canceled in Abbotsford, and said she would go and attend when he was going to be performing in Abbotsford. You have a federal MP also in the area, Abbotsford. He came out, Sukhman Gill, and stated that, hey, listen, all faiths should be standing up here. He said he's Sikh, and he would be appalled if the Sikh places of worship, or however they wanted to be worshipped, or however they want to engage in worship, was under attack. And so he's kind of calling on all faiths to get together, and that circles back to the Bible Belt coined nickname we called Abbotsford. It's changed drastically as more people have come. Now it's still the prominent faith to be Christian in Abbotsford, but Sikh is a strong second out there. So you have a very conservative environment that's standing up. And Dallas Brody, of course, the leader of the One BC party, she was one of the first to come out, and she just came out very shocked with the whole thing and saying, is this the new standard here, that you can't be a conservative Christian singer performing? And I think they've even got a petition going on against all this. So this is a big difference from what we saw during COVID times versus now. And I think we need to see more of that pressure coming on. And of course, we, the people, need to push back as well.
100%, Drea, and there are more of us, i.e. reasonable people that adore freedom of speech, expression, assembly, than there are of these cancel culture maniacs. But Chris, when I interviewed Mr. Feucht on Sunday, and I put this question to him, and he could barely contain a huge Cheshire cat grin. And I said to him, you look who you've been up against: the Islamists, the mainstream media, governments, the Rainbow Mafia, Antifa. They've tried their best and succeeded in canceling you. And what happened? Suddenly, thousands and thousands of people that never heard of you, well, you're a household name. You're trending on X. You're selling more books. You're getting more donations online. So what I'm saying, Chris, is the delicious irony of the cancel culture hooligans trying to deplatform him. They did the precise opposite. They created a Barbara Streisand effect for the good for Sean Feucht. What do you say?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Take what the enemy meant for evil and turn it to good. And that's exactly what happened. They surrounded and attacked the church in Montreal. And there was still some people in there even after the smoke bombing. I was in Ottawa the next day, and it's a couple of hundred people. And you could feel it. Like, honestly, you could feel it. And I looked the next day in Toronto, and it's 1,000 people. And that's just growing. And another thing that I've noticed a lot in my posts and just following this is the amount of non-religious people coming in and specifically saying, I'm atheist or I'm non-religious. But this is absolutely unacceptable. So a lot more people are waking up to this. It's not something new. Religion has been under attack for quite a long time. My church has been the subject of numerous hit pieces. They sent people in to spy on us and all kinds of things. I get attacked regularly by religion. But this story is really, really broadening this to a wider audience, and people are not okay with it.
That's a great point, Chris. And, Eli, I have to tell you, when I went to the church on Sunday in Northwest Toronto, and thankfully no Antifa or Rainbow Mafia members were there to create havoc. But then again, this church was located in the northwest end of the city, so the subway doesn't reach there. And typically these losers don't have cars. So it was a protest-free zone. But the thing is, I'll admit, full disclosure, I'm not a very religious person. I know my colleague Drea is a woman of faith. My beloved colleague Sheila Gunn Reid is a devout Catholic. I'm going to tell you something. I went in to take in that show, a show that was described and billed by CBC and its ilk as a hate fest. And what did I see? I saw singing. I saw dancing. I saw praying. I saw laughing. And it was so spiritual that even a hardcore cynic like me, I was moved. There's no other word but beautiful to see all these people singing in unison and in harmony as Sean was playing the guitar and his bandmates accompanying him. It was moving, and it was the opposite of hate. So why is CBC and the rest of the legacy media purposely creating a narrative that is 100% false?
That's a good question. Well, I just want to build off of what some of the other people said. First of all, like, I'm a Christian. I never heard of this guy. Not a lot of people had heard of this guy before. Now everybody knows about him. So yeah, now he's going to have a lot more people go to his shows. And I highly encourage people to go to his show just to show solidarity with him. Because again, as a Canadian, I'm embarrassed when people come to our country and this is how we treat them. So go and show them who real Canadians are. So that, number one, I'll say that. I do want to just say, David, your point is so true too about avoiding counter-protesters. You just have to make it a little inconvenient. The church in Montreal was centrally located, so they showed up. But I remember Jordan Peterson came to Ottawa in 2023, and there was this whole thing. Oh, cancel Jordan Peterson. Oh no, we don't want Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Well, they held it at the NHL arena, which in Ottawa is very, very far away, and parking costs $20. Is the total ripoff. But you know what that meant? Despite all of the noise, despite all of the legacy media articles, not a single one showed up. Not even one. Not even one had the courtesy to brave and pay $20 to protest Jordan Peterson. So that's that. The media
and Eli, I can tell you're 100% right. I was there that night, and the primary reason, in addition to taking in Jordan Peterson's performance, was that all the online chatter, we're going to shut it down. There's no way the Canadian Tire Centre is going to be a safe space. Not one demonstration.
Not one. I know. It was insane. On your other question, why does the media fixate on this? There's a really good book that I think everybody should read. It's called Bad News by Batya Ungar-Sargon. She's an American journalist who left the legacy media, and it talks about the priorities of journalists are not the same of legacy media. Don't include me there, please. Are not in line with normal people. These people are part of the elite. They live in usually downtown condos. They have their small social circles of other journalists and lobbyists and politicians. So what is their priority? It's not the fact that a house costs twice the price that it did 10 years ago. It's not the fact that even the MSRP of cars has doubled. It's not the fact that there's crime in the streets. It's not the fact that our resources are being overloaded and that people are dying in the public healthcare system. No, it is this. Because they live in their alternative reality where this has to be manufactured and create a manufactured issue because they really care about it because they're on Twitter all day. That's what it's about. It's another sign of the media being out of touch. Newsrooms complain, oh, we're limited. We don't have enough resources. We need more government subsidies, please. And meanwhile, that's what they have the time to write about. Please.
You know, Eli, I'm going to look up that book, Bad News, and I'll throw another book out there. The title had me as soon as I saw it. No More Christian Nice Guy. And basically the premise of the book is in Christianity, it's all about turning the other cheek. Well, you know what? Not to the point where you're going to be a pushover. I mean, Jesus himself went into the temple to kick the asses of the money changers. So there is a precedent for standing up. There is nothing unchristian about it. You know what, folks? My producer, Efren, tells me we're at the halfway point. Eli, Chris, you were wonderful. I hope you'll come back. I really appreciated your insights. Let me just, before you leave, Chris, where can people find your work?
Yeah, I'm mainly on X at Chris Dacey. You'll find everything there.
And Dacey is Dacey. Okay.
Correct.
And Eli, where can we see your journalism?
I'm also on X. It's Eli, ELIE_MCN. Also my website, which is ELIE, my full name, which you'll find on X.com. I have a Substack. Go subscribe. Go support independent media. I'm launching my own independent media company to make good, fact-based conservative content. So would love your support.
That is fantastic. Well, gentlemen, have a great holiday weekend. It's Simcoe Day here in the GTA. I think it's still called Simcoe Day. I don't think he's being canceled as a white supremacist colonialist yet. So whatever it is you're celebrating, have a great weekend. I hope you'll come back to the live stream in the near future. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for having us.
You got it.
Thank you.
There you go, Drea. Well, you know what? That was a lively panel, I think. And I believe we do have to pay the bills, so to speak, with a commercial break. So why don't we just pause for that? And on the other side, oh my goodness, it is one pack sausage today. So much to talk about. But folks, hang on for a couple minutes. We'll be right back.
Are you or do you know a young, freedom-loving truth seeker who's sick of legacy media spin and woke newsroom groupthink? I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. I am the editor-in-chief at Rebel News, and I'm the president of the Independent Press Gallery of Canada. And I wanted to personally invite you or the young person you know to the Democracy Fund's 2025 Student Journalism Conference and Job Fair happening in Toronto from October 3rd to 5th. This year's theme is the free market, not just in economics, but in speech, in ideas, and in media. If that inspires you instead of intimidating you, then this is your moment. Over 3 packed days, successful applicants will get hands-on training in modern journalism, with a focus on digital platforms, storytelling, and civil liberties reporting. You'll attend interactive sessions, complete with real-time group assignments graded by senior journalists, and compete for a grand prize. It's all expenses paid, flights, accommodations, and meals fully covered. This is a professional-grade experience for aspiring journalists with guts and grit. We're looking for Canadians or permanent residents or work permit holders age 18 to 30 who demonstrate ambition, integrity, and a commitment to free speech and truth-telling. You don't need a journalism degree, just the courage to challenge the narrative and the work ethic to back it up. Speakers include Ezra Levant, David Menzies, Tamara Ugolini, and yes, I'll be there too. Past grads have gone on to work in independent media, including right here at Rebel News. And for those of you who believe in building an independent media ecosystem, you can help too. If you're a business or individual who wants to sponsor this conference, email us at events@thedemocracyfund.ca. Applications close very soon, August 3rd. Visit thedemocracyfund.ca to apply or support the next generation of fearless Canadian journalists. Let's train reporters who tell the truth, no matter who it offends.
Love looking at those images of our glorious Jumbotron equipped billboard truck. You know, our beloved boss man, Ezra Levant, last year predicted correctly, I would say, that 2024 was going to be the year of censorship. But as it says on that ad, you can't censor a truck going down Main Street. Well, not yet. And by the way, that note, I'm going to make a prediction. The year of censorship has carried on from 2024 into 2025. A case in point, the Christian rocker we were just speaking of, Sean Feucht. I wouldn't put it past certain municipalities, Drea. And yeah, I'm looking at you, Nanaimo, BC, and yeah, you, Pickering, Ontario, to come up with some kind of bylaw that messaging on any vehicle on their streets has to be approved by council, and probably 2/3 of approval. That's what they do in Pickering for journalists. You need 2/3 approval to cover a meeting, or else you're frog marched out by Durham Regional Police. What say you, Drea?
Yeah, they'll come up with some sort of bubble zone thing, and basically you can only drive around your own property and things like that. But for those of you who have businesses, or you have a loved one with a business that need a bold way to go ahead and advertise, you got to try this truck out. I know many of you have seen it. You've seen the impact it has. So you can drive your message with our digital billboard truck. And do that bold statement and run ads on there. So amplify your message across the Greater Toronto area and all across Southern Ontario, featuring high resolution P4 LED screens and premium loudspeakers. And the bravest of the brave truck drivers. The truck delivers crystal clear visuals and powerful audio to ensure your content stands out. So this is kind of a new fun thing that we're promoting as a way to lock arms and go ahead and get your message out. So you can do that by going to our website called freedomtruck.ca. And boy, is that a freedom truck. I saw the truck for the first time during the election debates. And we had Mark Carney next to Ghislaine Max, I can never say her name, you guys know what I'm talking about, Epstein, what the mainstream media would not touch. So sky's the limit with what you can put on there.
100%. That is my second favorite vehicle after a 1970 AMC Rebel the Machine. Only made that 1 year. I'm going through my midlife crisis. Well, beyond midlife probably, Dre. I want to buy one of those. Lady Manzoid won't let me. We don't want to go into debt for a classic car. Oh, yeah, she can go on shopping sprees every weekend. Shop till you drop. But I want one little vintage muscle car, no dice. But, to Drea's point, folks, rent this truck. Here's my tagline: rent this truck while you still can. And which is to say, we're not putting it up on blocks. We know some municipalities will enact legislation. I'm betting on it. So get your message out while you still can. Now, Drea, this is interesting. Immigration, refugees.
Wait. We got to talk about our birthday.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes.
That's okay. It's our
At my
birthday.
age, I tend to block birthdays out of my consciousness. It's
I'm getting there. I was at the park the other day and I saw these university students playing volleyball, and I was like, those are university students? They look like babies to me. And so I'm getting there. I might stop counting soon. But yes, I'm not going to stop counting how many years Rebel News survives, because against all odds, as many times we've had our backs up against the wall, I've been here for half of the company's existence, 5 years. So it's our 10-year birthday, our decade birthday, and we want you guys to be a part of it. So some of you have heard we're having a birthday bash in Calgary, September 18th, and you're invited to come. And then by popular demand, many of you, the last time I was on the live, were saying, hey, what about Ontario? Can you guys come out here? And there it is. We are doing a Toronto birthday bash on October 16th as well. So no excuses. Come and join us. We're going to have fun. It's going to be food, and it's just going to be a good time to hang out together. So I'm really looking forward about that. And as you can see, I'll be at both. So I'm happy to meet you. You can get your tickets for both locations at happybirthdayrebelnews.com. Happybirthdayrebel.com. Not Rebel News.
Happybirthdayrebel.com. And the best thing of all, Drea, is meeting our viewers. They are the nicest people, and I sincerely mean that. They're so nice. And, and going back to aging, it ain't fun. I got two quick anecdotes. Back in February, Ezra and Lincoln J and we went to a comedy concert, and the comedian, who was brilliant, he said he was, it was like reverse heckling. He was picking up people in the audience to torment. And he said, what do you say, old man? And I turned behind and then went, holy smokes, he means me. I mean, I was so humiliated. Second thing, when the Hudson's Bay was still around, I believe it was every Tuesday they had Seniors Day, and they defined a senior as 55 and over. And I went in, I bought some stuff, and I said, this is Senior's Day to the clerk. And he said, that's right. And I said, oh, great, that's a 15% discount. He said, yeah, that's correct, sir. And I'm reaching for my wallet, and I go, I guess you want to see some ID. He goes, oh, no, that's okay. Like it was obvious, I must say. So
you know what? For women, just keep asking us, because that was a very sad time. You know, not too long ago, maybe like 5 years ago, a crazy thing happened, and I know we're going to have to talk, I'll be quick. But I went into a liquor store like 5 years ago with my husband, and they would not serve my husband because I was with him and I didn't have ID on me. So I'm like, oh, okay, like, all right. And he's like, this is my wife. And they're like, well, we don't know that. But that's over. I get ID'd now when I buy alcohol. And I'm like, how did I go from that to this? I blame Canada, to be honest. I think that's what's happening. But just keep asking us. It's, you know, I'm happy to give you my ID. Okay, just keep asking.
Drea, whenever I see you, I think of that old ad tagline from the 70s. You're not getting older. You're getting better, baby. So don't you worry. Now,
HR.
Yeah, which doesn't exist. Thank God. Here's something. Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada released this statement, Drea. Oh, fasten your seatbelts. Quote, the asylum system is not a way to fast-track your immigration to Canada. Asylum claimants are subject to rigorous screening. Get the facts about Canada's asylum system before you make a life-changing decision, end quote. You know, Drea, I think it would take 20 episodes of Seinfeld to make me laugh harder. Do they believe their own crapola? Remember, it was Justin Trudeau 2016. Hey, hashtag welcome to Canada. We have at the old Roxham Road crossing, well, still more of the same. Check out Alexa Lavoie's report on that. The RCMP, who should be guarding the border, instead becoming the Royal Canadian Mounted Bellhops and carrying the luggage in of illegal aliens. Yesterday, I got to tell you, Drea, I went down to Niagara Falls, Ontario, not as a tourist. I was with Lincoln J, and we were talking about the migrant hotels there. You know, the hotel capacity in Niagara Falls, folks, is about 16,000 rooms. About 2,000 of those rooms are housing 5,000 refugee claimants. I mean, Drea, Niagara Falls, that is Canada's #1 tourism destination. I mean, of all the places to put people, to put them in Niagara Falls at summertime, when you basically, if you're going to stay there for a week, go get a bank loan because of the demand on rooms. So when I see this from IRCC, it's laughable. What are they trying to do here?
It is absolutely laughable. And they're not just coming in through, you know, Roxham Road and the places we normally hear. They also fly in. They also fly in and say they're coming temporary and then claim for asylum as well. Out here in the Lower Mainland, I've covered how same thing. They're packed in hotels with suites and given cell phones, and in Abbotsford, in Richmond. I'm going to be following up on a lead that it's happening in Coquitlam. I'm sure it's happening in every city. And that's the thing. Everybody knows, the word is out that you can come here and, you know, just why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you come here and claim asylum? You can, as Alexa covered as well, you can also claim that you're part of the LGBTQ community when you're not. They're not going to follow up whether you are. And you can say where you live, you're discriminated against, so you have to come to Canada. So,
it's basically like being, well, a young offender in Canada. You can commit murder, and it isn't really going to get in the way of you enjoying your life all that much. But, you know, Drea, in the big picture, here's my question. We have, especially after more than a decade of Liberal mismanagement, we have so many Canadians in dire straits. I mean, I just mentioned 2 minutes ago the late, great Hudson's Bay Company. Imagine that, 8,000 people out of work, just like that. How do we succeed in the war on poverty when we're importing poor people from all over the world? Can you connect those dots for me?
No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And I mean, I don't know what the numbers are as of this month, but the first 4 months, what did we get? 800,000 that have come here, something like that. So the projection for where we're supposed to be at the end of the year is simply not feasible. And at some point, you have to start asking, is this on purpose? Is this exactly what's supposed to be happening? That's certainly what it looks like. I can tell you, in an area where a friend of mine lives, they're an elderly woman who was living in a low-income home with her family, and she was told that they're going to have to tear down the building, and so they can either move into this new, really small building that was going to be built across, or take a payout. And it turns out that was not true. What's actually happening is the building that they're in is actually going to go to asylum seekers and things like that. So they really displaced these people who had their own community, who had lived there for years, elderly people and other people, dangled some money or said, you can go here, you won't even have a parking lot kind of thing. So another story that I'll be doing as well. So it's got to stop. But it's moving so fast. We're doing our best to expose these things to the public, but how do you slow it down?
Yeah, and we did a report last month, Drea, of, basically shipping containers being assembled in North Toronto and modified. Those are going to be senior residences. I'm talking about these things you see, big steel containers on ships. We're down to that. And whenever I see stories, and there's too many, of veterans who are homeless or on hard times, man, that breaks my heart. And I got to tell you, what's the government response? Oh, we understand. We feel your pain. We got this thing called maid. It's not a gal that comes to your room and tidies up. It's called medical assistance in dying. So if you want to, say goodbye, cruel world, we'll give that to you on the house. This is absolutely despicable, Drea.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's see. I'm looking at the crime blotter. Serial sex offender gets indefinite sentence after an attack. Killer who raped, decapitated 12-year-old Ontario girl has been paroled. 2 suspects broke in, shot a Brampton man in the back, and fled. The second such break-in at his home in 2 weeks. His wife says they can't stay here anymore. No arrests. And what do I see on the political side of the ledger? Oh, the Liberals are all about bail reform all of a sudden. Drea, do you smell a rat here?
It's just copycat. That's all they're doing. And, it's long overdue, but we'll take what little we can get. But it sounds like it's out of control in Ontario anyways. I'm just going to add one little crime thing that I saw too, in case we haven't talked about it, which is, sorry, I shouldn't say little, where the RCMP sting out there exposed over 1,000 men trying to buy sex with little children. So there's a lot happening at once out there, and but not enough. It's getting more and more violent, more and more unsafe. And the Liberals, it's just like I said, we need more than just that.
Yeah, they're clearly not serious. And, I'll believe it when I see it. And by the way, there's that story. Yeah. Windsor Essex men among staggering 1,100 men in Ontario inquiring about sex with kids in police sting. Although, Drea, let's not use the P word, pedophile. In certain circles, they'll be called those who pursue intergenerational love, and MAP, minor attracted person. And I believe, wasn't it you when we were in Alaska? If I'm wrong, I apologize, but these people that are all about having intergenerational love, and that means a mature person with a minor, and the apologist will say, well, if it's consensual, what's the problem? Weren't they trying to get a symbol on the so-called Pride Progress flag so that they were included, much like, the purple flurple circle for non-binary people, whatever that is? Was that you that told me that was floated recently?
It definitely was floated. I will say it's not like, the bulk of the LGBTQ community. It's some very, strange people, but you're seeing it more and more. The fact that you can see more than one person suggesting such or having these talks, even a TED talk that is sort of normalizing pedophilia and things like that, shows that it's growing program. And in academia, we're seeing this language, you shouldn't stigmatize, just like with, drug use in public in BC and giving crack pipes and free drugs. Don't stigmatize anything. So that's the language we're trying to see. No, you should be stigmatizing pedophilia.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Even, Dre, as I found out from some research 2 years ago, the United Nations, of all entities, they're down with trying to destigmatize pedophilia or whatever fancy word they come up with. But imagine that in the Rainbow Mafia community, where you'd even have like a 300-pound bearded Bubba now going by the name Betty going, ooh, that's weird. I mean,
yeah.
Even they were against this.
And, I could see if there was like some sort of anonymous hotline or avenue to a counselor and you want to say, hey, this is a safe place for you to come and get help. I'm all for that. But allow us to shame, please. Society has to put shaming where shaming is due.
Oh, listen, I mean, I think we've had this discussion. When, it's the word that's entered the lexicon in this day and age of obese TV, the 1,000-pound sisters, my 600-pound life, and so on and so forth. Oh, don't fat shame anyone. And I go, well, as long as you're not doing it in a mocking way, as long as you're being concerned about, say, a loved one who's packing on the pounds, because, Drea, if you become morbidly obese, not maybe, but you will shorten your life. You'll get diabetes. You'll get cardiovascular disease. You'll likely have a heart attack. Don't trust me. Ask any doctor about this. And I got to tell you, once upon a time, 1988, thank God Lady Manzoid's mother fat shamed her. She said to her, you're looking a little blimpy. And you know what happened? She joined a gym, and that's where I met her in a hot tub. If she wasn't fat shamed, I'd never would have met the love of my life. So, fat shaming, not so bad.
That sounds like a loving way of doing it anyway. So.
And Drea, we're quickly running out of racetrack. I think we might have a super chat.
We do. It's from Cecily Bardol. Thank you very much. Donates $10 to help keep the lights on so people can see us, bring them the other side of the story. Says, to everyone who is hurting today, including myself, be hopeful. Oh, a little sick face. I don't know if that means physically or just because of the state of our country, but either way, thanks for the encouragement, and I hope you feel better soon.
Well, Cecily, thank you so much for the donation, and I hope you're not physically hurting or hurting in any other way that's really causing you discomfort. As I always say, hope abounds. There's always a silver lining. I know these are all cliched sayings, but hang in there. And I'm giving this country one more election, Drea, before I plan my exit strategy.
That's what I said in the last election too, and yeah. I'm now, giving another year, another term.
No, I think as we've seen Carney miserably fail in the elbows up movement, if these liberals get in, and I don't care who the leader is, say in 4 years, or Carney for re-election, that's it. The country's done. Stick a fork in it. Costa Rica is looking really nice these days. I've been there once. Beautiful country. A lot of Canadians moving there. Drea,
I've been to Nicaragua, which is near there, and same thing. A lot of Canadians over there too.
Oh, 100%. And if you can get in legally, the free state of Florida, I would love to live under the rule of Governor DeSantis. But I got to tell you something about Costa Rica. Do you know, they actually brag about this, which I think is a bit of a kind of a chutzpah position. They don't have any armed forces. So I saw these T-shirts they were selling, and it's a tropical fish, and it says Costa Rican Navy. And then there's a parrot, and it says Costa Rican Air Force. And then there's a tortoise, and it says Costa Rican Army. And I got to thinking, not only do you not have any armed forces, you're actually bragging about it on your tourist T-shirts. And I thought, even with our armed forces in such a dilapidated condition, Drea, I think we could take them. I think we could invade, make them the 11th province, and we can go there without a passport. What do you think?
What are you suggesting on a live stream right now? We have another donation, a super chat from Mad Lab Press, donates $6.99. And I guess just gives us a heart. So that's sweet. Thank you very much.
Let me tell you, folks, the man behind Mad Lab Press is Jay Bannister, former Toronto policeman. He's doing brilliant citizen journalism. And he was kind of our fixer yesterday in assignments we had in Niagara Falls and Hamilton. Stay tuned for those. He gave up his entire day. I bought him lunch. He deserved much more. And Jay, thank you so much. You are a great individual, and keep shining the truth on corruption. And folks, please check out Mad Lab Press, which, by the way, like so many independent press these days, is increasingly victimized by censorship. And I'm talking about everyone from big tech to, senior police officers writing to big tech and demanding they take his videos down. It's despicable, but Ezra called it, didn't he, Drea? 2024, the year of censorship, and the year keeps going, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a Groundhog Day situation.
100%. Well, listen, before we leave, we must throw to a daily cringe video. Ladies' choice. We either have Benny Johnson or we have libs of TikTok. Biden basically admits Kamala was a DEI hire.
Let's go with that one. Let's
go with that one.
I wanted to do the Justin Trudeau, Katy Perry, but we talked about that yesterday, apparently. So moving on.
Okay.
And I was proud to ask Kamala Harris to run with me, be the first black woman to serve as Vice President of the United States.
Black.
It was important. As president, I made the cause of civil rights and equality the foundation of everything I did. For example, I promised to have an administration that looked like America.
Drea, as a black woman, or should I use the phrase a certain Canadian Supreme Court justice uses, as a black person with a vagina, what do you say to that remark?
First of all, he's like, black woman, like just the way he emphasized it alone was a problem. But it's like, if I was the vice president and that's what the former president has to say about me, it would be degrading for me. I would want you to speak to the work that I did and how I served my country. But then again, this is the Democrats. Of course, they're not going to go there. So, that's what stands out to me.
They still don't get it, do they, Drea? Even after the shellacking they endured last November. And I got to tell you, as somebody on the right, and I speak, I think, for most people who are on the right, if you had, say, a 300-pound person of color lesbian with blue hair running as a Republican candidate, and she was all about improving the economy, strong borders, boosting the military up to its former glory, I'm voting for that. It's policy. It's what your ideas are that matter, not your skin color or your sex.
Absolutely. I'm here for you. I mean, Martin Luther King Jr. is rolling over in his grave as we focus on equity instead of equality and judging people based on their character and merit.
Drea, I'll go a step further, and I'm not joking. If Martin Luther King Jr. were alive today, and he said that speech some 51 years ago, judge not someone on the color of their skin, but the content of their character. If he went to a school board meeting in Canada and said that to judge a child with a colorblind lens, he would be deemed a racist and forcibly removed from that school board. I'm not kidding you. These are the kooks we have in school boards today.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Go to our website, stopclassroomgrooming.com, for reports like that, because there's sadly many.
100%. And before we leave, am I correct? Out of the corner of my eye, do I see another chat?
Oh, you're right. From Bonnie Danielson. I hope I said that right. Donates $5. Thank you very much, Bonnie. I think it's, anyways, I'm moving on. I think I butchered the name, but thanks for all you do at Rebel News. Happy birthday. And here's to many more years of reporting the truth. Thank you very much. Will you be joining us? I hope you will.
That is so nice. And you know, it's people like Bonnie who I'm looking forward to at our parties in September and October in Toronto and Calgary. And Bonnie, if you can make it out there, I'd love to meet you in person. Thank you for that donation. Much appreciated. Well, Drea, that was a lot of fun today. Do you have a long weekend in BC yourself?
I do. Apparently, I had to be reminded by Sheila that that's a thing.
What's it called?
Civic, I think, or yeah.
What's it called?
Holiday? Is it called Civic? Okay, this is embarrassing, but I was like, oh, it's a holiday? Is it? What's yours called?
Simcoe Day, after Lord Simcoe.
Oh, no, ours is not called that. So I don't know. Don't ask me.
Maybe Vancouver Day?
August. No, it's not Vancouver Day. We have to move on. I don't know the day.
Oh, shame.
I literally don't know. I didn't even know it was a holiday. And I was like, and now I feel really stupid that it's not coming to my mind, whatever it is.
I don't blame you. It's just like in May, the third Monday in May in Ontario is Victoria Day, but we just call it the May 2-4 weekend. And that was long before any kind of colonialism fell out of fashion. It's just people looking forward to an extra day.
It's BC Day. I'm so horrible.
What's it called?
BC Day.
You're kidding.
I don't know why I didn't
BC
know
Day?
Yeah, apparently.
Isn't every day BC Day if you live in BC? Oh, how innocuous can you get? Well, I'm sure that doesn't offend anyone. But then again, British Columbia, I don't know, Dre, in our lifetimes, could we see a name change to your province? You know, British, very colonial, very imperial, right?
Well, we've got Powell River is, they're trying to change Powell River, even though it's most likely not even named after who they think it is. And we have in, I think it's Vancouver, a street name that's been renamed into a Indigenous language that nobody can read, including many Indigenous people. So it's possible.
I saw that street sign, and I'm not making a joke here. It is unpronounceable.
It's unpronounceable.
And the reason is there are characters I have never seen in my life. I mean, it looked like something on a Klingon bird of prey in Klingon language or Predator language.
Yeah.
It was, what are they doing? What are they doing?
Good luck telling people where you live.
Yeah, and how many reserves still have boil advisory for the water? That's not important, but we'll do some virtue signaling with a name change that not even natives can pronounce. Oh, I think we have one more super chat. Then we got to call it a day.
Well, look, the longer we talk, the more donations come in. Thank you very much, Mr. Porkchop. Donates $6.99 and gives us emoji that says, keep it up. Lots of love and encouragement today. Thank you very much.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I'll do a Homer Simpson line. Pork chops. Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. A special thank you to Mr. Porkchop and everyone else who made a financial contribution. As you know, we don't take any Mark Carney money like he doles out to the trained seals in the mainstream media. So we greatly appreciate that. I will be back. No, I will not. I almost forgot. Simcoe Day. So I will see you next Friday in this space, perhaps with Drea Humphrey, myself. In the meantime, as always, have a great long weekend and stay safe and stay sane. Do you agree with me? It is time to make Canada great again. And that is why we at Rebel News have teamed up with MCGA Hats to introduce, well, the fashion sensation of 2025. Oh, and by the way, these beautiful hats, they are made in Canada. We don't rely on cheap imports coming over from China. So what are you waiting for, folks? Show your pride. This is the perfect thing for a patriot to wear, or maybe there's a patriot in your life that you would like to gift such a hat. Please go to mcgahats.ca. That's mcgahats.ca. Don't be shy about it. Wear this cap. Let everybody know you want to make Canada